Greetings everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, My Hero Academia, the final season.
Yep, My Hero Academia, the final season, episode 2. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And what would My Hero Academia be without one more cool shot of Stain? And I really should have edited in, and I'll try to find the clip for this one, but tell me that's not the Monarch's old butter glider that he's on. I had to make that joke. That was great. But, yeah, so last week, again, pretty much half the episode was just the last episode of last season. I mean, we talked about that. That is what it is. But it was all Might adjacent because of what he's doing, all that stuff. So that is what it is. And we're slowly wrapping up threads like Aoyama and Hagakure taking care of the plant guy. Very unceremonious, but the plant guy did a lot of stuff off camera. You know what I mean? He took out a lot of people, and he removed all the fat from Fat Gum, so he can no longer give any fat taxi rides. Real bummer. But, yeah, so... it's pretty much the big two fights remaining, yeah? That's all we got, I believe. I don't think there's any other random loose ends going on out there besides just random nonsensical wrap-up. I don't think there's really anything else that I can think of that hasn't been wrapped up.
Yeah, right now pretty much every fight has been resolved except for it's basically just All For One and All Might's fight is still going on. The main fight obviously being Deku and Shigaraki and Gigantomachia. That's basically it.
Right.
That one hasn't really been resolved. The doctor's one's been resolved. Actually, no, Doctor wasn't in the. I was thinking that the Doctor was in the freaking in the hospital that they were trying to attack. That the Heteromorphs were trying to attack, but that wasn't the case. He's still off on his own.
Yeah.
So we still don't know what's going on with him.
Right.
But the Heteromorphs have been resolved. Toga's been resolved. Dobby's been resolved. Plant Guy's been resolved. It's mostly just those two main battlefields and then the two sub plots of Gigantomachia and the Doctor still being loose ends.
Right. So, anyway, not really a huge amount to say going on this. We talked about the Stain stuff, so I'll just say this here. I'm going to say this in everything this week, just in case people missed it. We did say One Punch Man was going to be part of this set of shows. There's no sign of the simuldub existing yet, so I assumed One Punch Man would be something that was going to get a simuldub relatively quickly, but with everything that's going on with it, not so much. So, no One Punch Man in this set of shows, but we got Has-Been Hotel, and we have to do 2 episodes of that a week, so with One Punch Man not having a slot, that means Saturday and Sunday are taken up by Has-Been Hotel instead of One Punch Man on Sunday, and having to have literally a 7th slot on a Tuesday for Has-Been. So it doesn't matter.
TLDR, despite the 6-year absence, One Punch Man was given 6 months worth of time and budget to be made.
Yeah. They weren't working on it for 6 years. They have been working on it for less than a year, so it's a disaster. So it'll be interesting to talk about that more when we actually get to that show, when it ever gets its dub.
Yeah, the exact time frame isn't totally confirmed, but it was from everything that's been said by the director and stuff like that. It seems like they were only given about 6 to 8 months to make this season, which would a 12 episode season is typically around 2 to 3 years to produce.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That is what it is. But, yeah, so we have those time slots filled for the next month with Has-Been, and then potentially Hell of a Boss coming right after that. So, it's not like we're lacking stuff. So, anyway, just wanted to get that out there. We'll mention it on the other stuff just in case people are looking for that. But One Punch Man will come whenever that dub comes. So, and then we'll get to talk about the madness. and the hypocrisies and all kinds of other fun drama bullshit that I hate talking about, but needs to be addressed and corrected because people are dumb. I had to explain to somebody what a ground rule double was in the World Series. By the way, go Dodgers. But there are a lot of people that were like, oh, this is a conspiracy, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't understand the rule. If a ball gets lodged inside of a wall, ground rule double. Deal with it. That's what the rule has always been. If the ball bounces over a wall or gets lodged somewhere, it's a dead ball. Get over yourselves. Stop spreading misinformation just because you don't like the outcome.
Oh man, it's like golf. Play it where it lies.
Yeah, pretty much. But based on the rules, that's now how it functions. Unless you're Happy Gilmore, and then you gotta, you know, hit a ball off some dude's shoe. But I think that was Shooter McGavin who had to do that, and then the guy threatened him. So I still want to watch Happy Gilmore too. I gotta see how they pulled that off, because apparently it was pretty good. So anyway, as for MHA, yeah, I'm ready for this. Apparently people have been buzzing about the first couple episodes. I know some crazy stuff's coming. Don't know the exact details because I've been pretty spoiler free here. So either way, I'm excited for this. So let's push some buttons, get going here. So people on Patreon will see you on the other side of the edit for the timer stuff, and people on YouTube will see you for the review and discussion. And if you want to see either of those things, the links are in their respective places. You guys know how to use the internet, I hope. So here goes something. Well, alrighty then, there you guys have it. This certainly was something. We got the Stain stuff that we were expecting, but we talked a bunch about this at the end of the reaction there, and we just kind of kept going until we finished our thought there. But I wanted to bring this up again for people that didn't see that. It was I don't have a problem with Stain sacrificing himself here. That's what everybody probably saw coming. Most people who were paying attention to the plot. We talked about that last season. Like, Stain was probably going to take one for the team one way or another, and he'd attempt to get one, you know, over on All for One, this kind of thing, like he did here. But
yeah, we very clearly expected him to take one for the team, but he ended up taking one for the meme.
Yeah, he took one for the meme, which this is something I'm going to take issue with, and I mentioned that it's made far more sense to me for All for One in his current state, and we just talked about status effects versus actual true damage, you know what I mean, like the acid injection. Stain's thing is a status effect, which is affected by time elapsed. It doesn't matter if you're going backwards or forwards. If you get stunned and go backwards in time, you're going to not be stunned anymore. Just like if you go forwards in time, the amount of time you're not going to be stunned anymore. You know what I mean? You're not going to reverse time and stay stunned indefinitely until time's moving forward for you. That's not how it works.
Yeah, no. As long as you're not in this time where you are stunned, going forward or backwards shouldn't matter, because it's going to get you to the point where you weren't stunned anymore.
Yeah, and we just talked about how with Stain's power, I think it's like his maximum duration based on blood type was a range of like 30 seconds at the shortest or something like that to like around an hour, maybe 30 minutes, something like that, whatever it was. A very small amount of time compared to how fast All for One is currently regressing. During this Takno Jutsu section, he probably regressed a solid couple days bare minimum. You know what I mean? With how much he's regressing. So well beyond Stain's status effect limit, to the point where they didn't need to do him like this. You know what I mean? Oh, I set up this incredibly... Okay, it makes sense that All for One, the master planner who has a contingency for pretty much everything, would set this up to have this blood expulsion quirk and the antigen thing that him and the doctor have discussed before. But come on. You didn't need it here. It was dumb. It's just one of those things where it's just like, so we're taking Stain out, a guy who has a very niche stun power, to the guy who has like everything, and he's being rewound. It's one of those, this had that death battle feel to me where they just didn't math right. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean, like,
I can talk shit about this all I want. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it's still kind of aggravating to see a character as important as Stain to the overall character progression and stuff like that. The fact that the author felt the need to shenanigan him, as opposed to just You realize I'm regressing, right? Status effects have no effect on me, and then he just swats him. That would have made way more sense to me.
The thing that actually, yeah, like, from a quality writing perspective, you credit All For One with the plan, but you make him not need it. You make it to where the rewinding is the thing that Stain can't account for, because he doesn't know about this whole rewinding situation going into this. He just knows that All For One is beelining it for UA and that All Might's fighting him.
Yep.
He's not in the know. He shows up. He stuns him. They go in for the attack. The stun only lasts like a second or two instead of what should normally be like minutes. Stain gets taken off guard, and as All For One goes to kill him, he comments about how he had this whole elaborate plan of like having his extra quirk just to counter him, just for Stain to basically end up blundering right into the rewind and him not to even need it.
Yeah. It's no different than what All For One says in his fight with Endeavor. It's like, I didn't think I'd need to use this against you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he uses the rewind thing. So it would have been the same thing. It's like, I had this really cool plan set up for you. It's a real bummer that I don't get to hit you with that, but, I'm rewinding. Status effects don't matter to me. So that's just my gripe about this. We've talked about status effects and other kinds of things here, but just the shenanigan. If he's not rewinding, I'm totally fine with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like him having the backup plan for Stain totally makes sense. It fits his character. But the fact that he has to use a totally like unforeshadowed gimmick against him in this situation doesn't work. Like I said, they should still give him credit for having had a trump card against Stain, but he shouldn't have had to even use it here.
Yep. So that's just like a fairly major gripe for me here is just, again, if he has like the whole villain speech, like when he's standing over him right as he's about to kill him, it's just like, I just want you to know that even if I wasn't rewinding, I had your ass. So suck it, nerd. You know what I mean? Could have been the same exact evil speech we got here, just would have played out way better, because it's just like, even without the rewind, I had you. So nuts to you.
It once again continues to further empower All For One as the big bad, while also actually taking more credit into the situation. Rather than just, Stain shows up, so we're just going to immediately burn a MacGuffin friggin' unforeshadowed trump card just to get out of it.
Yeah. So that is what it is. That was my major gripe with this. I can understand, certain like arguments for and against it or whatever. You could claim that, All For One is in a, he's in like full like, teenager mode of like not giving a shit and wanting to show off and stuff like that. I get all that, but it's not like he's regressing from all the memories and experience that he's had. He's just acting more on impulse and stuff like that, sure. But
he's becoming younger and more emotional, but yeah, he still has all of the knowledge and memories of his older self.
And that argument that I just explained right there is completely invalidated by this right here. He still has all of his plans and all of his, level-headed scheming when he went to take out, the so not old man, gentle criminal. He just looks like he's older. He's like 35. He's like the same age as like Aizawa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not that old.
Yeah, no, Gentle just has gray hair.
Yeah, so yeah, to like teenage, All For One, yeah, he's an old man. We get it. Everybody that's like over 35 is super, between the ages of like 35 and 40 is already old and over the hill, right? I'm super old and over the hill right now, okay? But it's just like, That's one of those things where you look at it and go, yeah, he's acting on impulse, whatever. He's being incredibly calculated here. I mean, he was trying to do everything, you know what I mean? Trying to get to Shigaraki, trying to do all that stuff. It's still there, you know? So yeah, he's acting on impulse, but it's not like he's acting only on impulse.
Yeah, he's not even entirely acting on impulse. Like I said, it's just that he's younger and therefore more emotional. But once again, he still has all of his knowledge, experience, and plans and everything like that from being older. He hasn't lost any of that.
Yep.
He's just, once again, become more emotional than he normally is, than his normal, like, very cold and detached self that is his several hundred-year version.
Yep. So either way, the rest of it was pretty serious business. Obviously, we got to go through some of the All Might like backstory stuff like that. We got to see his mother, that kind of thing, like more of his like pseudo origin story, that kind of thing. So that was interesting.
Yeah, once again, this is the first time we've ever actually, it was like right at the beginning of the episode, but it's the first time we've ever actually seen anything prior to his like conversations with Nana when he was a teenager.
Yep. So that was kind of like an interesting, just like a little bit of extra stuff that was going on there that they had in the episode with, you know, just like all the other like memories and stuff that he's created and that kind of thing. You know, the end of Shimura's life, that kind of thing that we got a little bit more on, which we really didn't have anything on before. But you know, we knew All For One killed her.
Yeah, we knew All For One killed her, and that All Might and Gran Torino were there.
Yeah,
but we didn't really know any of the specifics.
Right. So yeah, it was nice to kind of fill in those gaps for what they were. But yeah, I don't know. It was a solid enough episode for what it was. You know, we slowly see the Twices kind of like coming off UA there, that kind of thing. Because once again, all this stuff is happening at the same time. This is around the time. This is clearly at the point where Toga has, you know, sacrificed herself to save Ochako, and that's why all the Twices are disappearing. That kind of thing.
Yeah, so, the Twices are finally catching up with the fact that Toga's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the only thing also that happened this episode, the other thing that happened this episode that like basically like the only thing so far that hasn't really gone to plan with for All For One is just the fact that Shigaraki rejected him.
Right.
Yeah, Shigaraki's apparently progressing faster than he initially intended for, and has already subsumed the vestige that was left in him. So now he's independent, unless All For One can get back there and wrest control from him again.
Right. But that's probably not going to happen because he's going to have a very angry Great Explosion Murder God in his face here in a second.
Yeah, he's about to catch a King Explosion Murder to the face. Yeah,
which pretty much obviously called it on that the power that he didn't use was Bakugo's, and his last-ditch effort thing there was a self-destruct. So
yeah, I figured Bakugo's power would be a self-destruct. That's like a last-ditch thing. But yeah, no, he did not in fact get to actually use it or say the name.
Right, yeah, real bummer. Right here, though, I thought we were going to go full Bane breaking Batman's back. That's what I thought was going to happen here. It's like, did you get to make a Bane reference? Is that what's happening here? But
no, he was threatening to do it, but then Bakugo woke up just before he actually did it.
Right. So that's the big cliffhanger that we get left on is, you know, we talked about how Edgeshot needed time. You know, once again, this is all happening in the course of like 10 minutes. Even if we're using the term several dozen minutes earlier.
Well, it's just dozens of minutes is all it said.
Yeah. So
implying 24 minutes to 36 minutes.
Yeah, 24 to 36 minutes. It's like, really? Well, we're starting at 5:03. Why not just 5? I don't get it. Well, once again, I've seen the argument of like 5:03. That's a very specific time. 5 o'clock is also a very specific time. They're also, every time frame, no matter what time it is a specific time. It's just flat and even if you started at 5 p.m. exactly or whatever.
If you're clarifying a specific time, it's a specific time.
Yeah. So, but either way, it's one of those things where it's just like
it's
all of them
only-
are specific times, but off numbers. Like, yeah, first pitch is at 5:08. Why 8 minutes after the hour? I don't get it.
Yeah, the only time it's not a specific time is when you're giving a range of time, like dozens of minutes.
Yeah. The cable guy's going to show up between 8 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. It's like, yeah, because I have nothing else to do today.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. But I'm interested to see how they explain the Edgeshot situation, because we all know what he was doing, and he was basically giving up his body. Is he just gone? Is he just like Bakugo's heart now? Obviously probably not sentient at that point, but just like gave up his life for it. Or is he gonna be like full on, it's just a flesh wound and I'm Darth Maul over here and I just got my upper half? What, you know what I mean?
I assume it's just going to be a case of he gave up a like chunk of his body, so he's going to come back with like maybe like an arm and some of his torso missing, or like missing both of his legs or something like that. But it also could very well be that he's just dead,
right? Because they did kind of accentuate the massive strain that was going on his body doing what he was doing at the size level that he was at, because
it was they like put a lot of emphasis on the fact that it was going to be very risky for him to do, because not just for Bakugo, because Bakugo was basically guaranteed dead at that point, but for Edgeshot specifically, because like he says himself, it is the smallest, most precise use of his quirk he's ever had to do. So he's essentially working on a practically microscopic level.
Yeah. So there's definitely some interesting things coming up, obviously. Looking forward to this gigantic fight with Bakugo and All For One. So, and the ESPN app will not F off. But yeah, so looking forward to that. It's going to ramp up, I'm sure. But we're pretty much down to where we're at here. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the rest of this fight, the situations. What point do we see like another regression from All For One? You know what I mean? Is he gonna have like one more major one, or like where is he gonna be? Like, is he gonna go full like just like baby at some point, or what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, which also on the Bakugo versus All For One, before anyone starts saying like, well, why would Bakugo be able to fight All For One? For one, All For One is regressing and is far more susceptible to things than he would normally be. But also, as long as they're not status effects. But also, we still have the whole thing of like Bakugo potentially having that residual spark of One For All that was established. Plus, also, before he got RKO'd by freaking Shigaraki, he had just recently made like a weird breakthrough with his quirk and was like threatening to turn the fight around.
Yep.
And he never actually got to like fully actually explore that before Shigaraki managed to freaking blap him.
Right. And to clarify, what we're talking about here, and you can kind of see it in Bakugo's eyes here, is in the second movie where they fight on the island and Deku makes an attempt to transfer One For All to Bakugo. The author canonized that fight. That whole sequence is canon and happened. That wasn't just like a one-off movie thing. That they made a big announcement like, no, that was a thing that happened. That's something that happened between them.
Yeah, no, the movie is canon. He has received All For One. I mean, One For All before. It's just inexplicably, for whatever reason, it went back to Deku after the fact. But we still have no clue if he had any sort of residual anything from it.
Right. So, if you want to infer anything from these eyes, it very well could be the residual effects of All For One, in fact, of just everything that's happening right now. You know what I mean? So, either way, again, gripes aside, still solid episode. Bummer for Stain, but we knew that one was coming. Yeah. So, now it's time for Bakugo to take the stage and do a thing, I'm sure. So, you got anything else, Age?
I'm pretty sure we're more gonna probably lean in on the whole whatever like weird breakthrough Bakugo was coming up with on his quirk before he died. But yeah, the freaking One for All thing is canon and therefore is a thing that could be brought up.
Right. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube beyond, however you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And this was My Hero Academia, final season, episode 2. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.